Instruments of the Orchestra, still a hugely popular project in schools, and rightly so. There are many different ways to teach it, of course. Many go for the old war horses, Peter and the Wolf, Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, and so on. But in the last few weeks, members of the London Symphony Orchestra, along with their illustrious conductor Sir Simon Rattle, have put together an ingenious video called Where's Simon?, in which members of the orchestra introduce their various instruments, remotely of course, filmed on smartphones, whilst waiting for Simon to turn up. But where is he? Has he now been found? And what's the next stage of this innovative lockdown project? I spoke to the creator of the project, the LSO's principal flautist Gareth Davies, and the man behind the video itself, Vic Craven. So welcome to Teaching Notes, Gareth Davies and Vic Craven.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Hi, nice to see you.
Hi guys, thank you very much for doing this. Gareth, I'll start with you. Could you give me the background to the first video, Where's Simon?
Yeah, well, I'm principal flute in the London Symphony Orchestra, and Vic and I have worked on quite a few education projects together, which always involve lots of visuals and things with the orchestra live in the Barbican Hall. And we liked all those videos. You know, loads of people have been doing those videos with a cappella and superimposing lots of players, and I really liked them, but I personally didn't really want to just do one of those. I wanted to do it with a purpose. And one of the biggest assets of the LSO, I think probably the biggest asset, is the amazing players and the amazing personalities. And I wanted to write something that really brought that out, so that, you know, when you hear one of our wind players talking about how brilliant their instrument is, they're not just acting, they really mean it, and they really do think that their instrument is the best. And I wanted the passion that we all have, and in fact, and of course Simon has, for the orchestra to come across.
And Vic, could you tell me your reaction when Gareth suggested this to you, and also what it is you did with the project, where you took the project?
With this particular project, it was a question of how do we capture any sense of what live classical music is like via, a film on the internet. And I think that a huge benefit of creating something that was online, and this was Gareth's genius idea in the first place, was by having the notion of using the Zoom conversations with the players, we were able to actually see them at home, which just immediately gives you a route into who these people are, their personalities, which, I think sometimes with orchestras, the orchestra is seen as such a big machine that creates this incredible sound, and it's very difficult to get that route into the people, to the individuals. And I think that, we've already had lots of reports when people watch the Figaro Overture at the end, they think, oh, there's the guy who plays the violin, oh, there's the guy that plays the clarinet. Suddenly it transforms into some more personal experience. There's a human connection, and there's a narrative and a story, which of course we all live for.
I think you're absolutely right. And of course, for those of us who have played in orchestras and worked in orchestras, we know that our orchestral colleagues are human beings who have, bad senses of humour and their quirks and their foibles and their people. But I think sometimes for 12, 13-year-old students, everybody is just a kind of an old person, especially if they're wearing a dinner jacket. And I need to be careful how I say this. As soon as you remove people's dinner jackets, that they actually do become more human, and that's a nice way in to the music. And we've been using Where's Simon with remotely, of course, with our Year 7s, and they love it. They absolutely love seeing the players and seeing these instruments, not just on a PowerPoint or a focus on sound page or something, but in the hands of a professional who makes their living from blowing down that tube, or from scraping across those lovely strings. Now, this week you've just launched part 2 of Where's Simon. Could you tell us about that?
It's been great to see the reaction from people. I mean, I've got lots of friends who are teachers, and they've all been saying how they've found it really useful, particularly at this particular moment in time, which is, it's a strange time for everybody. And we wanted to kind of extend the whole Where's Simon thing. So obviously we've now found Simon. In fact, we know exactly where he is, but we're not telling you. We've now got part 2, which is just been released. And what it is I've written a set of easier parts for everybody to play, because of course, much as I'm a big fan of Mozart, the trumpets are rather unemployed in the Marriage of Figaro Overture, and as if you've watched Where's Simon, you'll know that the trombone and tuba don't in fact get to play in the Marriage of Figaro Overture. Well, I've got some great news, because I've written a tuba part and a trombone part. They play all the way through. and they are designed to be played on their own, but you can also play them together. So if you do have a group at school of string players, they can all play together. And they can play along with the video. There's even a version for open strings for the violin, so that if you're a total beginner, you can play, like me, on the violin. You know, it's just really about joining in. Simon gives a little introduction and some encouraging words and some tips on how to practice and stuff like that.
Sounds great. Well, let's hear from Simon Rattle himself.
For musicians and orchestras, nothing is ever perfect the first time. And actually, like a football team, we have to train together. We can play well on our own, but it's what we do together that's important. If it's hard at the beginning, just try again, and it'll get easier. Enjoy playing, remember to listen, watch what's going on, and have a fantastic time.
What we're encouraging people to do is you can join in. If you download your part, practice it on your own, listen to it a few times, play along a few times. When you're happy, if you want to, you can film yourself playing alongside the LSO, and you can upload it onto social media if you want to, using the hashtag #IFoundSimon.
Something to look out for in the part 2 of the Where's Simon project is all of the instruments are lit up or reduce in strength depending on what's happening in the music. I mean, we actually spent a huge amount of time intensely analysing the score down to the beat of a bar, and you see the entire orchestra the whole time, with Simon conducting at the front so that you can follow him at home. But you'll see much more clearly the entire sections of the string section lights up or dims down, and indeed the intensity of the frames around them glows at different percentages based on the dynamics of the music. So if it's soft, it's a less intense glow. So actually it will also enable you, if you aren't playing along or if you just want to watch it, you'll get a whole new idea of just how orchestral music is constructed in terms of which parts of the orchestra are playing and the overall textures and colours that come out from the orchestra based on who's doing what and when.
It's amazing actually, because you really can, it's actually a visual representation of the texture of the piece and the orchestration that it's so great that, you know, which you didn't really get so much of a sense of in the original film because of all the different camera angles, but as Vic says in this one, it's just so clear, and it's actually, you know, if you can follow the score for older kids, you can actually see the texture being built up as players are lit up. It's great, really good.
That sounds like an incredible teaching resource. Thank you so much for having put that together and telling us about it. Could you just let us know where we can find this online?
All the LSO social media pages and on the LSO website, lso.co.uk/alwaysplaying.
Fantastic. I have one last question. If I get my trombone out and I play along with this, can I say that I've played with the LSO?
I don't see why not.
Excellent. That is a verbal contract.
As long as you upload it and add the hashtag #IFoundSimon, you can do what you like.
Excellent. My CV suddenly looks better already. Gareth and Vic, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope we'll get to speak again.
Thanks. And keep up the good work. The podcast is brilliant.
Thanks to Vic Craven and Gareth Davies, and of course to Sir Simon Rattle. And do encourage your students to look at the films. They are simply fantastic, and there are lots more of Vic's videos on his website, victorcraven.com, with amazing films to accompany pieces such as Bernstein's Candide Overture and The Rite of Spring. A really great new way to see orchestral music as it happens with one of the world's top orchestras.